the winter solstice is such a powerful day. I never celebrated it as a child, but when I began to be more familiar and accepted in the Native American world, I learned a lot about the solstice. And I learned that it was a gentle time. It was a time to be able to feast and to be with loved ones and friends. In fact, it's interesting when you read about the solstice that for thousands and thousands of years, humanity has been celebrating it. It's celebrated in all walks of life. It's celebrated in China. It's celebrated in the Far East, Egypt. It's celebrated in our country. And one of the stories I read was how the people of our country, thousands of years ago, or maybe just 1,000 years ago, would celebrate. And they didn't have houses like we have now. They'd be camping out, and they'd have big burning fires and whatnot. And the children would come, and they would sing, and they would dance. And then there was a special time in the ceremony where all of a sudden, from one of the tallest trees came the shaman. Shaman would have been the minister. I'm glad it wasn't me at the time, because he's climbing down the tree, and he comes down with gifts for the children. Now, I found that interesting because that was a long, long time ago. And it's interesting how customs kind of blend, don't they? We have a Santa Claus that comes and honors our children. And we have candles burning. And I do encourage you all to come back to the candle lighting services. We were here yesterday and rehearsing for them. They are magnificent. So bring your neighbors, okay? Because it's part of the season. Lighting the candles. So the children would receive a gift, and they would play, and they would sing. And they were celebrating that it was the darkest day of the year. And we know what that's like. It's like, gosh, 5 o'clock, the sun goes down, I'm ready to go to bed. Yeah. So I'm kind of glad we're moving towards the light. So it's celebrated around the world. And so I honored the bones of our ancestry. And I honor the bones of Earth, the crystal beds, the very center of Earth. I've been told, and I've seen in visions, that that's where the violets grow, the crystal beds inside Earth. And many times we just think, oh, I'm just getting dirty out there on the Earth. But we don't really realize the magnitude of Grandmother Earth. And so in knowing that, once upon a time, right where we are sitting, below us is the Earth. I remember when we built this dome. It was powerful when it went up like a big balloon, and then they poured cement and how they fixed it to be so beautiful as it is. But we gave thanks for the Earth. And I remember we had a gentleman come to bless the Earth, because I knew that was important. We're going to put a structure on it here, on this soil right here. It needs to be blessed. So it was Doug Goodfeather and my good friend Howard Badhand who came and did a Native American blessing to bless the land, because the land was going to give forth the building upon it. So with knowing that, we come back today to our native roots who walked this land long before there was any buildings around anywhere here in Lakewood. Who inhabited this land? Who celebrated on a solstice? Who was the person who came down the tree? So going back and honoring. So right now I just want to honor my good friend Doug Goodfeather and the candle that is burning up there. We lit it before the service in honor of Doug's mother, who recently passed. I've always loved to dance. Not a very good dancer, but I love to dance. So many of the traditions the Native Americans have is about joy, it's about love, it's about light. And so I think that even Ernest Holmes, in fact, I just quote Ernest, he said, We viewed the winter solstice as a time to embrace inner stillness, allowing the darkness of introspection to reveal the inner light and the divine presence. I feel very strongly that the dance and the dance that you witness here, those are prayers, and they do reveal that inner light of divine presence. So today, we acknowledge the darkness not as something to fear, but as sacred rest. So it's interesting that in our walk and in our talk, sometimes I hear things that are kind of dark coming from other people. There's times that perhaps even in my thinking, I tend to go towards the fear instead of being with the light. And I would encourage each one of us today to remember the light. It was Chief White Eagle, and I'm just quoting him, that he put out a email, maybe some of you received it, this maybe 6 months ago, but I'm just quoting him. He said that we have choice as individuals. In our life, we can either take the path to go down into a hole. That would be the fear, that would be the darkness. Or we have the choice to knock and to open the doorway. What is the doorway? It's the doorway of heart itself, to open that doorway. I've had practitioners in the last 6 months say, oh gosh, help me with my prayers, I'm in fear. You know, I'm not sure what's going on with the world. I'm in fear. And just take a breath, and it's like, this is the time to pray. This is the time, let your prayer be love. And not that you have to go into reciting all kinds of different things. Be with love, for love wins. Love wins. And so out of the dark, light comes. Light comes. So the winter solstice is celebrated through our world in many, many different ways. Different hemispheres, as I mentioned, Egypt, China, they have beautiful, beautiful light demonstrations. So the world, the wisdom of the world, that love intelligence, recognizes the power of light. So we can light a candle. But you are the light. Each one of us, we are that inner light. And if you're thinking, gosh, you know, what is she saying? My life hasn't been so cool lately or good. Light a candle. And I would encourage you this day, solstice, tonight, to light a candle and perhaps offer a prayer. And it could be a prayer for forgiveness. Forgiveness is for giving myself back to myself, giving myself back to that light of love. Could be that. It could be a prayer of plenty for others, that people can eat and be fed. I give thanks for Doug Goodfeather. Many years ago, when my husband and I first met Doug, Doug would tell you, I'm just a common man. That's why I love him so much. He doesn't brag and say, well, I'm a great dancer or anything. He's just a common man. And he does a lot of good work feeding the people. Not only feeding them spiritually, but feeding them food, helping them in many, many ways. So there's always a way we can help each other. And I think this time that has seemed like darkness, and now we're coming into the light, is a time of incredible transformation. And Mile High Church is a great hub for transformation, isn't it? It is a light. Its vision, its mission, we live that. And so as we integrate that into our own lives, we become that beacon. And for years, my intention and my vision for Mile High Church is that it is a light unto the world. It's a place where you can come and be accepted. It's a place where you can come and receive spiritual food here without saying, now, what type of religion, where did you come from, what color's your skin, what's your lifestyle? We don't do that here. We accept all walks of faith, all beings. That's why we're all here today, because we know that's true. Yeah, it is true. So I want to just share with you something I learned from, I get emotional, from a great man. I've known a lot of great men in my life. And this one, his name is Dr. Thomas Hora, a great teacher of metapsychiatry. A man who once could have had the title like a Sigmund Freud or have that title in the world, but he chose to leave that profession of being, this well-known professional, and he came and he taught in a seminary in the United States. His practice was Buddhism. I've learned a lot from him. And one of the things I learned from him in dealing with situations in life, he said he always had kind of he was from Hungary, so he had a broken little accent. He was so cute. And he'd say there's two intelligent questions that we need to always ask. And the first one is, and this is the mental one when we're looking at a situation, what is the meaning of what seems to be? What is the meaning of what seems to be? And the word seems in Greek means to shed light upon something. So a lot of times when we say that, what is the meaning of what seems to be? It doesn't immediately come forth the meaning. But can you see it shifts our thought from saying what should be, how do I do this, who's to blame? We say, what is the meaning of what seems to be? So I'm sharing that first intelligent question because it's important that we give up blame. Set it down, give it up. And the second intelligent question is a spiritual one. What is really real? What is really real? So I behold that each one of you, you are real. You are the manifestation of a divine light. I don't care what color your hair is or even if you have hair. I wasn't looking at you. We are the manifestation of divine light. So I want to give you those two questions. What is the meaning of what seems to be that lifts us from the blame? And what is really, really real? And some of you have heard me tell this story that many years ago, I was in a situation where we needed to do a refinance because years ago we went to our mountain property on one of those funky loans. When we did it, I knew I'd have to refinance. But at the time, the credit was golden and whatnot, and one after another was turned down. So I was a little discouraged. So I put on little postums and I posted them in all my cupboards, on my mirror, in my Jeep, everywhere I went. What is the meaning of what seems to be? And what is really real? Well, it took a little while. Didn't manifest like that. But it did manifest. One day I got a phone call from a man from Minnesota, a banker. He said, I'm buying your loan. I just gave thanks. So I know this stuff works. And instead of going into the fear like, oh my God, we might have to move and all this stuff. No, be with what is really real. So I wanted to share that with you today. And I also wanted to just honor my friend Doug. He's going to come and he's going to speak also. Because he represents truth, spiritual truth. He's a man, he's a soldier of truth. And I remember when I first, I'm going to call him to come forth, when I first was in a sweat lodge. A sweat lodge is a nipi. A nipi means rebirth. It's a very powerful, powerful time of prayer. And Doug had come back from, I think it was Afghanistan, and a lot of things had changed for him, a man of great faith. And he came from a vision quest where he received this vision of taking this to the people. I guess that's how it manifested Lakota Healing Way Center. And I remember sitting in that sweat lodge. I didn't really know him very well. But when he shared that vision, it landed right here in this open door. It landed right in my heart. Beautiful, beautiful vision. So with that, I give to you my friend, Doug Goodfeather.
Oh, thank you so much, Patty. Appreciate you. That was in 2006. We were in that sweat lodge together, almost 20 years ago. Wow, time flies. It's good to be here with you. Just want to share some good words with you, some teachings that I've learned that I always like to pass on, and also in my studies, the things that I research to better myself as a teacher. And usually that study is on myself. You know, a lot of times we're talking about today and coming from the darkness into the light. You know, as Patty said, the power is still just now coming on up there, conifer, and because of the high winds that happened last week. So I wanted to pray for everybody about that. And but I wanted to go on and share with you some of the things that I've learned about studying myself and how I brought that teaching out to help others study themselves. Because the things that I teach you, you go to the doctor, pay lots of money to keep coming back, I guess. And but here we don't do that. We want to teach you how to be your own healer. I don't consider myself a healer. I just get you unstuck. And you become the healer. Because a lot of times we don't realize our own gifts. We travel the world, all over the world, looking for answers for our problems, our issues. And we look all over the world. We pay big money to try to get that healing, that certain word, just to spark something in us of healing. And all the time is in us. And our self is traveling and trying to find these answers everywhere. When there's a storm, sometimes we have to go through. And many of us have been there. And they call it the crossroads sometimes, or into the storm. But in the Lakota philosophy, there's some relatives we call the Buffalo Nation, our relatives. Because they have taught us everything and they have given everything to us. Their philosophy, their bodies, their teachings. And people don't understand that kind of thinking or that kind of what that means. And that kind of philosophy. You see, when we hit something that troubles us or we go through something traumatic, we go into the storm. Because in here, the storm, this is where you're going to learn yourself. This is where you're going to study yourself. You're going to feel the pain, you're going to cry, you're going to be mad, angry. But you need to. You need to feel that. Because depression is not all bad for you. Because the body is so intelligent, it knows how to heal itself. But we're taught different. We're taught how to oppress that down. Keep it down there. And when that happens, we get sicker and sicker. We need to let it out. And how do we let it out? Talking, crying, praying, helping. But in that storm, you're going to learn to study yourself. You're going to learn the things, your gifts that you have come with here. And in that storm, the Buffalo people are going to be in there with you. They're going to teach you and they're going to guard you through that storm. Because when you come out of that storm, there's going to be people waiting for you there. And these are the people that you went through that storm for. Because they need teaching. They need help next. So it's your experience and your own suffering and your own trauma becomes a teacher. It doesn't become a burden no more. It becomes a teacher. Scars disappear, wounds disappear. You want that. You don't want to keep your scars or your wounds because you're just going to make excuses with them. You want to get rid of them. The physical scars, you see them. Oh, I remember that. I remember what happened at that time. Don't become a victim to it. Become a teacher. Learn the philosophy from that pain and become a teacher because there's going to be somebody else that's going to have that same pain. But now you have the understanding to be the teacher now. You see, we always do that to ourselves. We blame and shame, point fingers. You see, I was taught when I was growing up to be a warrior. And with that, you don't see division. You see the people. And when you become a warrior, you don't make an oath to no human. You make it to the Creator. This is for life. This is for life. And when that happens, these things are going to come in, these purposes, these gifts that you're born with are going to bloom in you. And they're going to come out. And you're going to learn how to cry. You're going to learn how to see people. Because we're meant to be useful to each other. Not against, but useful to each other. Useful to the kids crossing the street in the morning when they go to school. Useful to our elderly getting out of their car, walking to the store, or helping them get into their car. Useful by just saying hi to somebody. You see, these teachings that you came through that storm with, that rebirthed you to bring those gifts out. Sometimes you have to be broke. You have to. Because when you're stuck and somebody else is teaching, you're not seeing with yourself. You're seeing somebody else's teaching through you. So in order for you to see through yourself, you must go through that storm and it must break you. But remember, the way creation is, when creation was created, it was chaos. There was turmoil. But in that, something was brewing. That was us. That was the world, our Mother Earth. Us and all life that has been on her. It brewed us, created us. And we came with these emotions. We were born with them. These are gifts, born with this spirit, this soul. Learn that self of who you are. Because if you stay stuck, you're going to be stagnant. And the Buffalo people will help you through that storm and bring you through it. Because they have no ego. They see you. And that's where you want to get. In order to see yourself, the ego must go away. There's two virtues I live by. And I call them the ego checkers. And that's humility and humbleness. These are the ego checkers that I live by because I have to see the people. Because when I pull up to a corner and see somebody begging for some money, sometimes if I have it, I don't hesitate. I don't sit there and judge. That's not my right. My right is to help, to be useful. And if that is to get him something to eat or whatever, that's his business or her business. It's not my business no more. My business is to keep moving, but to be useful, to help. And that's where we get stuck. Because we get sometimes stuck in ourselves. Because somebody taught us to see through their eyes, not through you. And sometimes you have to go through that break, that storm, in order to really see who you are. See yourself. And there, You're going to really learn who you are. You're going to really know your strengths, your gifts. And life's going to change. It's going to be more, more fulfilling, I can say. I've been through many storms, many. Every storm I came through got stronger and stronger. My mom, she made her journey home. You know, in our Lakota way, we put this away. We put our dancing away. And we mourn for that year. In the Lakota word, they call it washigla, a mourning process. There's an intelligence that brings you through that. And when you go follow that process, you're not going to get stuck. You're going to heal. That's what that process is for. So, but I made a commitment to this solstice. So I have to keep it. So when I'm done, I'm going to put my bustles away, put my outfit away for 1 year. I'll be back next year, though. So, we had a lot of healing, me and my mom. You see, my mom didn't raise me, but I knew her all my life, on and off. At the end, she was, one of the things that we do to ourselves, guilt, anger, blame, shame. So the only thing I can do is sit beside her and tell her I love her. You did nothing wrong, Mom. Everything you did is the way it's supposed to be. If I didn't go through that storm, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't know the things I know. I wouldn't be strong the way I am. I wouldn't be compassionate. I had to go through that life like that. Because sometimes I go to people's deathbeds. Sometimes I go to these hospice centers. I sit down and I pray with them, talk with them. It's going to be okay. Journey is going to be good. You got to believe that too. You got to know that it's going to be good. So whatever you go through it. Be strong through it. Cry through it. Use the tears that you're born with. The Creator gave these to you, these modalities. Because if you stop crying, other dysfunctions are going to come in. Diabetes, high blood pressure, heart attacks, cancers. Because anxieties, tension, all of that creates all of that. You need to cry. The gifts you're given. We're born with natural modalities. We're created so intelligent. So amazing, the things that we're born with. So don't fight against the Creator. Use the gifts that are given to you. Share them. Help people. Help yourself. Learn to help yourself. Learn to love yourself. That's not selfish. That's a gift you can give to the Creator and the people around you. Because people love you and they want to see you healthy. They want to see you happy. So remember that. It starts from you. You don't need to go all over. It's here. Sit down and pray. Talk to yourself. Learn yourself. Study yourself. And you'll start to heal. And use that goodness to walk in the world and help people. Sometimes we live in an arrogant way and the ego checkers are going to come one day. So learn to understand that meaning of the ego checker. Because there's people you need to see. There's people you need to help. 다그와 가야이 어가헤비 토가실라엘로이 제와야기엘로 아에 자누바기 와카가헤비엘로이 호예와엘로 아에오이 타티야 또바기 아헤투와야이 오마기야 옐로이 제와기엘로 하에 토가실라이 오마기야요 하에 어이 어이 어이